are on Joshua and chapter 8, verse 34. We just finished talking about the people being split on the Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal, as Moshe commanded. Now we're on 34. It says, "V'achar chein," and afterwards, Kara ekol divrei Torah. He called, or he read, all the words of the Torah, habracha v'haklala, the blessing and the curse. I'm translating literally, by the way, the blessing and the curse. Kechol hakatuv, like all that is written, b'sefer haTorah, in the book of the Torah. Okay, that was literally. And afterwards, he called, or he read, he read all the words of the Torah, the blessing and the curse, like all that is written in the book of the Torah. So what are the problems with that?
Why in the singular, the blessing and the curse?
Good.
Even though they translated it in the plural here.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
But it's not. As a matter of fact, the reason they translate it in the plural probably is because of the Targum. Targum Onkelos translates it also Birchanu Vatin as blessings and curses. But the Hebrew's not saying that. No. Okay, so the Hebrew, and that's why I'm always saying you have to be very, very careful about what the verse is actually saying. Okay, what other questions do you have? Any other questions?
When it uses the word all, does it mean every word of the Torah?
That's what it says. He read all the words.
So, okay, I hear it. Go ahead. What else? I won't answer yet. Go ahead. What else? So you have two questions already. So why singular, and why? What does all mean? Does it mean when it says all the words of the Torah? Does it mean all the words, literally from Breshit to V'zot HaBracha?
Or just the blessings and the curses?
Right, or just blessings and curses. That's the second one. So anything else?
Wait. Okay. Yeah. So he says he read all the words of the Torah according to all that is written in the book.
In the book of the Torah.
In the book of the Torah. But
right.
It's 5 books.
Right.
So there's.
Okay. So that's Jim's question.
Yeah.
So what did he read? What did he actually read? Okay. Anything else? Who's the he? Who's he? Is it he read? Is it literally he read? Is it singular he read? Or is it not? And if it's a he, so who's the he?
Yeah. Kara is he. Huh?
Okay, so who's the he then?
Got to be Yoshua.
Didn't we? It has to be Yoshua. But didn't we say in the previous verse? That would be the logical conclusion, yes. But doesn't it say in the previous verse that the Kohanim are the ones who are going to be in the middle announcing the plagues and the blessings and the curses? Okay, that'll be some of the questions you can ask. So the Metzudas David says like this. He says, first of all, let's understand. Kara is, as you said, is Yehoshua. Yehoshua was the one who was reading it. And then it says all the words of the Torah, and it goes back and explains in the verse itself. Right? This is what you have to be very particular on. The verse says, afterwards he read, and by the way, is afterwards. Okay? After setting everybody up, Joshua read all the words of the Torah. Which words specifically? The blessing and the curse. Like all that's written in the Torah. So that's how you have to read it, Jim. Okay? In other words, the Torah, the Tanakh itself is telling you what he read. It says all the words of the Torah. If it would just said all the words of the Torah and stop there, then it means from Genesis to the very end. But since it says all the words of the Torah, then it specifies the blessing and the curse. Or as you would have the blessings and the curses, like all that's written in the book of the Torah. So that means that's what he read.
Okay. So that would be that section in Devarim?
Devarim, right.
Devarim?
Right. And so he continues to say that he goes back, like all that's written in the Torah, which is the parsha of this parsha Kitavo, and Vayim Lotush, which says that if you will listen and if you will not listen, as is written in the parsha and similar to that. So what he's doing is what the Metzudas David is saying is when he's reading the Torah, he's not just doing the curses, because who did the curses? That was Kohanim. He's finishing it off. He's reading the rest of the story. In other words, the Kohanim just announced 11 blessings, 11 curses. So now he's going through the rest of Kitavo. Again, we're reading that this week. So if you want to hear those 98 horrible curses, so you look at it. He would read that whole thing with the intent of saying to people that if we follow the law, we get all the blessings in the world. If we break the law, then we get all these 98 horrible curses, plus the 48 from Leviticus. God had no problem giving us the curses. And actually, thank God he gave us the curses, by the way. Why? Why would I say thank God for the curses?
So we know what not to do.
Besides that.
To give you an opportunity to repent so it doesn't
Besides that. That's why he told us. But what happens if I say this is what's going to happen to you? I know the worst case scenario. But it also can't be worse than that. You can't suddenly renew something. You can't come up with some other punishment. You didn't warn me like that. So God is limited to what he can do. So thank God. He told us exactly what's going to happen. The worst thing that a parent can say, that a principal, parent, or anything can say to a kid is, don't do this or else. Because every kid says, or else what? What are you going to do? Unlike when the teacher says, A, B, C, D, and E will happen to you. E being the worst, and that's sort of an order. So I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. It's not a matter of I have to test the waters. The only thing I'm going to test is, are you actually going to do it? You just need one test case. One, as we would say in the Yeshiva world, you just need one korban. One guy who's willing to be the sacrifice and try his luck. Either the teacher backs up what they're going to say, or the principal backs up what they're going to say, or it doesn't. So in this case, you also had test cases where we challenged God and we didn't do it. So God punished us. 1, 2, 3. And who do we have to blame? God told us. He warned us. He said, I warned you. It's a natural result of what's going to happen. But that's as far as you can go. So that's why, in one way, it's very good that he warned us. Unlike the blessings, which are not so delineated. So it can even do more for us. Okay? Good is always better than bad. Okay. So that's how Metzudas David is looking at this. Second thing is 35. Let me finish the chapter, at least the way the church broke the chapters up. It's actually also this is for some of the churches agreeing with the rabbis. Okay, because it's also the end of the chapter according to the Tanakh. So lo haya davar, there was not a thing. We call it Shiva Moshe. From all that Moshe commanded, asher lo kara Yehoshua, that Yehoshua did not read, neged kol kal Yisrael, opposite all of the congregation of Israel, v'hanashim, and the women, v'hataf, and the children, v'hagir, and the proselyte, ha'holech b'kirbam, that walks in their midst. So again, there was nothing from all that Moshe commanded that Joshua did not read opposite or in front of the whole congregation of Israel, the women and the children and the proselyte that walks in their midst. Any questions?
So wait a minute. So if they read the blessings and the curses, what does it mean? So they said there was not a word of all that Moses commanded.
Okay. Good. What else?
To the entire community of Israel. So I have to, and he doesn't mention the men, so I have to assume that the men are automatically included when it says the entire community of Israel.
Okay. That's a fair ball guess. Go ahead.
We had this yesterday where you're now going to be responsible for each other.
Well, that's part of the process, correct? Yep. Okay. Question: you could also ask why the women there, why the children there,
and the converts that traveled among them. So why does it have to say that the converts?
Why is
converted
it
to Jewish? Right? Why does
right.
it mention them?
Correct. Good. Okay. So now, according to the Masudas David, what does it mean that he did not miss anything, basically? So the Masudas David says, from the blessing and the curses. He didn't miss one of them. He read every one of them.
Okay.
And that Moshe commanded him. When did he do that? It wants to say that which was said in the Torah, that Moshe told him to do in the Torah. That's all Masudas David is doing. Very simple. No tricks here. The Radak gives a little bit of a trick. He says there was nothing that he missed. So he says it appears from this verse that after the Levium read the blessing and the curse. By the way, let's answer that question. I forgot to answer that question. Why is it blessing and curse in the singular instead of the plural?
Yeah.
Because they're one group. Whenever there's a group, then we can put it into a singular. If I view it all as one complete unit, then it's a unit. So that's a singular. That's why Am Yisrael, the nation of Israel, is a singular. Am is singular. Am Echad. So it's going to be a singular verb. Amim would be plural. But since she says Am Yisrael,
Amim would be
right.
Two nations.
At least two. Right. So now that I said Eva was talking about what we have in America, 350 million, I think that's what they said, or something like that.
It's one nation.
It's one nation under God. Okay. Indivisible, okay. I know my resolutions again. But that's really what it is. So now here with bracha and klala, and again with Torah, how many Torahs are there? We have two. We have the oral tradition, we have the written tradition. Both received at Sinai. Yet we call it one Torah. Why? Because it's one unit. Those two books, those two components, make up one unit. And again, if you look over here, you have 72, but really it's 20 volumes, well, it's actually 63 tractates. They all make up the Talmud. Again, it's singular. So again, whenever I have a unit, it's always going to be singular. If I talk about them individually, that's something else.
So when they translate it into a different language, they got to make it more understandable in that language.
Right. Okay, so that has to be understood. So now, back to the Radak. So he says, from this verse, it says, after you could learn, it seems that after the Levium read the blessings and the curses, Joshua started and he read into their ears all of the positive and negative mitzvot. So he's looking at this and saying, when it says that he didn't miss anything, there was nothing from all the commandments from the Torah that he didn't read. He's not talking about Genesis to Zon HaBracha, the last parsha. Rather, he's saying, here's all 613 commandments that we have. This is what you have to know. He had to read it to them. Okay. And then it picks on the gear, the proselyte who's walks in their midst. So he says, as is written in the Torah of Parshat Hakel, that when it says your stranger, your proselytes that are in your gates, and it says the ones who are walking, which means they were going to convert. In other words, when they would walk amongst the nations, some people attached themselves to the Jewish people because we were the victors. So they were attaching themselves to us. So since they were on their way to conversion, because that's why it's considered the gear who was walking in their midst. They had not yet apparently gone to the Radak. That's what I said. This is an interesting twist on the word Haholech. He's on the road to conversion. So, and why would they convert? He continues, because they heard and they saw the wonders that happened to the Jewish people. See, right now we don't have to worry about that. Right now we don't. Anybody who looks and sees what happens in Israel and the fact that we're still here after 3,000 years, it's a miracle in itself. There's no question. But not the open miracles that they saw there of the walls of Jericho sinking, and no Jew dying, and the crossing of the Red Sea, and the escape from Egypt. That was wonders that, it's just too much to ignore. So people were saying, wow, I want to be part of that special group. So they would come and they would try to become part of us. And since the Torah allows for a person to convert, so they were on their road to conversion. That's how the Radak is looking at that. A very interesting way to look at it.
It is.
Okay. I'm going to hold you guys over for a few minutes because I just want to finish it in so right here. He said, this is the Malbim, and he says, afterwards, again, this is going to 34, where it says, after she read all the words of the Torah, so he says, he's talking about what's it referring to? Habrachot ve'amarim, the blessings and the curses that are in the parsha of Vayak Im Shemot Yishma, namely what we're reading this week. And also, if you will not listen, this is what he read. So he's agreeing really with the Mitzudas David, I believe that's what we said it was. And then there was nothing he missed, all the mitzvot, so he's just quoting, all the mitzvot of the positive and negative commandments. And we told the time at the beginning, so I'm sorry, but hopefully next week we'll get more. Okay.